Good day students. In today's class, in today's video, we shall see about the directive principle of the state policy and if time permits regarding the practice questions. The directive principles of the state policy are guidelines to the central government and the state government of India, and the government are supposed to keep this in mind while framing the laws and policies. These provisions contained in Part 4 of the Constitution of India, and they are not enforceable by any court, but the principle laid down in this Part 4 are supposed to be considered fundamental in the governance of the country. The principles of the state policy have been the principles have been inspired by the directive principles given in the Constitution of Ireland and also by the principles of Gandhism and relate to the social justice, economic welfare, foreign policy and legal and administrative policies of the country. The idea behind such policies is the, the idea behind such policy is traced to the Declaration of the Rights of Man proclaimed during the Revolution of the France and also in the Declaration of Independence by the American colonies. The Indian Constitution was influenced by the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights also. So, the directive principles of state policies aim to create a social, economic conditions under which all the citizens of India can lead a peaceful, healthy and happy life. They also aim to establish a social and economic democracy through the development and welfare of the state, and they also are a check on the government. So directive principles of the state are guidelines for the government that is to be followed while framing the rules, regulations and laws of the country. So there are basically four types of directive principles. The first one is the socialistic principle, the second one is the Gandhian principle, the third one is the liberal principle, and there is one more, that is general land or miscellaneous principle. So, the state has to secure a social order for the promotion and welfare of its people. So the state will have to strive to promote and improve the lifestyle of the people for the welfare of the people by securing and protecting as effectively as possible the social order in which justice, social life structure, economic and political life structure shall be imbibed in the institution of the national life. The state will also, in particular, strive to minimize the inequalities in incomes and also try to eliminate inequalities in status and facilities and opportunities. And not only that, the state has to strive to ensure that individuals and also groups of people residing in various parts or various locations of the country are engaged and ensure a common lifestyle for all the people. So their economic background has to be improved. Their social lifestyle has to be improved. The state has to strive for the improvement of the people even at the different locations. So there are certain policies that is to be followed by the state, The first one being the state shall in particular direct its policy towards securing all the citizens, that is men, women, equally have the right to adequate means of livelihood. Okay, the basic necessities of life for livelihood has to be fulfilled for all the citizens. So the state has to ensure that these things are fulfilled. The ownership and control of the material resources of the community have to be distributed equally for the common good of the society. It should not be that only one person is accumulating wealth. Okay, state has to ensure, it has to make the policies in such a way that all the all the wealth and wealth should be equally propagated or equally distributed among the various sections of the society. It should ensure that operation of the economic system does not result in concentration of wealth and means of production to the common detriment. All group of people or a section of people should not get the advantage. It has to be ensured that all the sections of the society, all the sections of people will get this advantage and should enjoy their social and economic their social and economic background has to improve. There is equal pay for equal work for both men and women. Women should not be treated as unequals. All the women should be treated in parity with the men. So equal pay for both men and women has to be ensured. The health and strength of workers, men and women, and the tender age of the children should not be abused, and the citizens should not be forced by economic necessity to enter into unsuited avocations to their age or strength. So they should not be forced into labor, they should not be forced into work by certain economic sanctions. The child should be given equal opportunity and facility for its development in health, and it should ensure that the children health should be of utmost importance, and conditions of freedom and dignity of the child should be maintained. The reason being, the youth should be protected against exploitation and against moral and material abandonment, because the children today are tomorrow's citizens. So the future of the country is based on the children of today. Hence, the state has to ensure that good health environment, good freedom and dignity, everything is provided to the all the sections of the people of the society. Next, equal justice and free legal aid. The state has to ensure, the government has to ensure that the operation of the legal system should promote justice, okay, and on the basis of equal opportunity, and in particular provide free legal aid by suitable legislation or schemes to individuals, and ways to ensure the opportunities for securing justice, and that the justice is not denied to any citizen for the reason of economic or any other type of disability. The literal meaning of this is, the state has to ensure that all the persons should have equal rights to legal justice. They should have access to legal education. Organization of the village panchayat. The state shall take steps to organize village panchayats and endow them with powers and authority as required and necessary to enable them to function as a unit of self-governance. So the panchayats have to perform as individual units. The panchayats have to perform as individual organizations, and the government has to ensure this to happen. Right to work and right to education and public assistance in certain cases. The state has to ensure that the limits of its economic capacity and development make effective provision for securing the right to work, to educate the people, and to public assistance in cases of unemployment. So if there is a problem of unemployment, the state has to ensure that the people are educated and all sorts of assistance is provided to them, and their life improves. Their life improves. Their lifestyle improves, and they should provide sufficient assistance for unemployed youth, for old aged people, for sick people, and for people with disablement. The state also should ensure that the conditions for work are humane enough for all the people, and also for women, maternity relief is provided. So the provision of securing just environment, humane environment, conditions that is suitable for the humans to work has to be ensured, and maternity relief also should be ensured by the state for all its people. The state shall endeavor to secure suitable legislation or economic organization of all the workers who are involved in agricultural, industrial, or any other sorts of work, and the living wages and conditions of work, ensuring a decent standard of life and full enjoyment of leisure and social and cultural opportunities should be created. An environment to enjoy these opportunities should be created by the state. And in particular, state shall endeavor to promote cottage industries or individual or cooperative based industries in the rural areas. So for this purpose itself, Minimum Wages Act has been bought, Labor Acts has been bought. These are some of the examples wherein the state is ensuring that the lifestyle of the people working in the various industries is improved upon. The participation of workers in management of the industries. So the state shall take steps by suitable legislations in any or in any other way to secure participation of the workers in the management and undertaking and establishments of other organizations engaged in that industry. So people can build an industry, they can own an industry, and they can further upon improve the lifestyle by owning the industry. And not only that, there are various industrial acts, there are various labor acts, there are various workers act that has been brought forward by the government in order to ensure better lifestyle and good lifestyle to the people who are working in the various sectors in industries and in non non-industrial, that is agricultural fields also. Yeah, uniform civil code for all the citizens. So the state shall ensure that the citizens will follow uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. So a person who is from one particular state in south will have the same civil code as the person who is there in north of India. So the civil codes for the people will be uniform throughout India. It shall not vary from region to region. Provision for free and compulsory education. So it is the responsibility of the government to ensure that the students or the children get free education from age of 6 to 14, and because of which government has brought in various acts, education acts, and also ensured through various rights free education up to the age of 14. Government has set up a lot of educational institutes like government schools, etc., and ensured that students, and it ensures and promotes students and children to attend schooling until the age of 14. Next, promotion of educational and economic interest for scheduled caste tribes, and other weaker sections. So the education of these weaker sections of the society also has to be improved upon. So it is the responsibility of the state to ensure that these weaker sections are also brought into the mainstream of education. So for that, government has made a lot of norms like setting up of reservations in certain education institutions, setting up of reservations in employment, so that the people of this weaker section also improve and their lifestyle improves with the passage of time. It is the responsibility of the state to improve the level of nutrition and the standard of living of all the people or the public health. So state shall regard the raising of the state shall regard the raising of the level of nutrition and standard of living of all its people and improvement of the public health among the primary duties and responsibility of the state. So state has to strive to improve the lifestyle of the people, their standard of living, their nutrition levels, their public health. And state shall also endeavor to bring upon prohibition of consumption except for medical purposes of intoxicating drinks like alcohols and etc. You can see that certain states have already banned alcohol and intoxicating things like drugs etc., which is injurious to health. So if people don't agree or listen to the listen and they are involved in abusive acts like drinking and usage of drugs, then government has brought in various norms and regulations wherein such activities will be prevented and regulated. Organization of agricultural and animal husbandry. So state has to endeavor to organize the agricultural sector. State has to ensure the development of the agricultural sector and animal husbandry sector, and they have to improve it, modernize it with lot of scientific research and lot of improvements in these industries has to be incorporated by the government. So that is why government has taken lot of steps and set up various educational institutes for agricultural sector that will improve the lifestyle and the produce of the farmers. It should also ensure that it should ensure improvement and preserving good cattle breeds and prohibition of slaughter of cows and calves and other mulch and draught cattle. So it has to protect all this animal wealth of the country. The state has to protect it. Next, protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding the forest and wildlife. State also has to ensure that the forest, which is the natural resource of the country, the wild animals, which are also the natural resources, should be protected. And state has to ensure, the government has to ensure that these are protected and prevented from uh, getting killed. Next is protection of the monument and places and objects of national importance. It is the obligation of the state to protect every monument or place of national importance. That is also the objects of artistic historic interest and that are declared under the law that is made by the parliament to be of national importance, and it has to be prevented or protected against spoliation, disfigurement, destruction, removal, disposal, or export to foreign countries. So state has made laws and regulations to protect all the aspects that have national interest. And you may be aware that Archaeological Survey of India is there that will ensure the protection of the monuments. So this is one of the methods that has been incorporated by the government to ensure the protection of the all the historic monuments. Another important aspect is the separation of the judicial from executive. Here in our country, the judiciary is independent, the executive and the parliament is independent. So states shall take steps to separate the judiciary from the executive in public service of the state. So as you know, judiciary is independent from the executive and judiciary is independent from the legislature or the parliament. Next is promotion of international peace and security. So state has to ensure or the government has to ensure that international peace and security is maintained. Okay, it has to maintain an just and honorable relationship with the other nations and its neighbors. It should foster respect for international law. It should respect international law, international treaty, and all the obligations in dealing with the organized people with one another. It has to encourage settlement of international disputes by arbitration or by discussions or literal meaning is that war has to be prevented. The country should not get engaged in war.